Grand Rising Sleepers, it's your girl GK bringing you another dream download. There appears to be a lot going on in the dream state. I mean, there always is, but I guess Spirit is wanting me to bring more of these dreams to the forefront because this is somebody's story because they're not mine. So going right into this dream, I was in a house, but this house wasn't mine, and this house has a front door where there's a pane of glass in the middle of the door. So the whole middle of the door is glass. You can see outside and then it's just, there's a border of wood that goes around this glass. But it's the front door to a house, and that may be significant to someone, or else they wouldn't be asking me to describe this front door. Okay, so I was with this Hispanic or this Latino woman, and in my dream, I knew her. I don't know this lady in life, but we appeared to be friends in the dream, or, I knew her because I was with her and I was in her house with her. Now, it's weird because the first thing that happened before we even get to this Hispanic lady, I had just taken a platter of Halloween cookies to a neighbor of mine. And this isn't in the building I live in now. This is in some other building. And they weren't like condos or apartments. They were like condos. I was taking this Caucasian lady, and she's very big. And I just have to be honest with what I saw. She had to be, and I'm not even kidding, like 800 pounds. I mean, she's a very, very, very large woman. And I was taking her a plate of some Halloween cookies and something else because she had just moved in, and I had been over there once before, I think to kind of introduce myself. And I knew that she was laid up, like she was laid up in bed. Well, actually, she was kind of laid up in, it looked like a big ass lazy boy, a recliner or something. It could have also been like a huge hospital bed. It was one of the two, either like an oversized recliner chair or like a hospital bed, because she was kind of, you know how you can sit a hospital bed up so a patient is kind of reclining, but they're not laying fully down. So that's the position she was in. She wasn't fully laying down. She was more so reclining, but she's such a large woman. I couldn't tell, like I said, whether this was a hospital bed or some kind of like lazy boy recliner, but she was in the living room. And she had a sliding glass door as a front door to her unit. So like I could see her sitting in the chair before I even got to the door, of course, because it's a sliding glass door and it's see-through. So I arrived to, like, there was some steps leading up to her sliding glass door, and I'm walking up the steps and I see her and this lazy boy. And like she's got some, I think she had like a breathing apparatus or breathing tubes in her nose. So I'm walking up and I've got this platter of cookies in my hand, and the sliding glass door is kind of cracked. So I slide the door open and I'm like, I bought you these cookies or whatever. And then I want to say I had bought her some soap. And she was telling me that she couldn't have the cookies And she said something to the fact like, well, you know, I can't have those cookies. She said, but definitely leave them here because somebody will eat them. And I was like, okay. So I had put the cookies down somewhere, and I had given her, I think, a bottle of soap, like bath soap or something. And she was like looking at the label. And she said something to me about the soap. I'm not quite sure what she was saying. But it's like everything I was giving her, she had a remark or had something to say back, like, okay, thanks for the cookies. Can't eat the cookies though, but leave those here because somebody will eat them. And then she was saying something about the soap, but I can't quite remember. So then boom, so there's that. Then it's like when I was leaving, I was somehow transported into this house with the pane of window, the pane of glass in the middle of the front door. And there were like papers and shit everywhere on the floor. Like the house was kind of in a disarray. This Latino or this Hispanic woman has like 5 kids and she's married. Now, again, in the dream state, I know this lady. In my waking life, I do not. But, pardon me, somebody don't want me to talk about this. Excuse me, it could be because I just literally opened my eyes and my throat's a bit dry. But anywho, so I'm in this house and I'm looking out the front door, and there's a lady, another Hispanic or Latino lady. She's outside in this vehicle, and she was talking to the lady that I knew. And this lady has the one who I didn't know, the one who had just pulled up outside in front of the house. She has long jet black hair. She could be anywhere from her late 30s to mid 40s. She wears a lot of makeup. She wears like a turquoise or a green or a blue eyeshadow. She may be a bit tall, but I really just think it was her heels. So she's standing on the passenger side of a car, and the door is open. She's standing there holding the door open. And the lady that I know is talking to her. And the lady outside the car with the long jet black hair, she's telling the lady that I know that her husband is going to marry her, and don't worry about it because he's leaving and he's going to marry her and all of this stuff. And then she's like basically taunting the woman I know because she's like, yeah, he's leaving. Like, he already proposed to me. We're already getting married. He's leaving you behind. Like, don't even worry about it. And she's like taunting this lady about their marriage. And I'm standing in the doorway looking outside, but like the door is cracked, so I can kind of hear the conversation. And I'm standing there like, I know she didn't just tell her that he's leaving. So somehow or another, the husband appears from somewhere, and then the wife, the lady that I know, is telling him, you know, you better go outside and check this female because I don't know what she's talking about. Like, we're not getting a divorce, or we're not leaving each other. And so he was kind of nervous, but he went outside, I guess, to talk to this lady. But she was like packing up the car, or somebody was packing up their car. It was weird. And then I ended up on this hilltop. The way my dreams move me around sometimes, I kid you not. Um, I was on this hilltop and I was in a city that I'm familiar with in my dream. And I know this sounds weird, but this is not a place I know to be real in the physical world, but I am familiar with this city in my dream state. I've been to this city many times in my dream state, and every time I go to this dream state or this city in the dream state, it's like I know how to get around because I've been there before. I've been there many times before, and I don't mean just like a handful of times. Like, I've been to this city in my dreams like since I was a kid. So imagine growing up in a city as a child, and maybe you move away from that city, and as an adult you go back to that city, and it's like you remember how to get around, you remember where the streets are, where certain stores are. It's like that. It's like muscle memory. It's like you don't forget how to get around. And so that's how it is for me with this dream city. Like, I've been there so many times in the dream state, I even recognize this city when I'm in it in the dream state. Like, I'm like, yeah, I go down this street and, this is over here. And anywho, so I end up on this mountaintop, and there's two Caucasian boys. It's like they go to private school. Both of them go to private school because they had their uniforms on, and they have to wear like a sweater vest and a dress shirt and a tie and then a jacket. And then the jacket has an emblem on the, there's a breast pocket, and there's an emblem or an insignia of the school on that breast pocket. They had on gray trousers or gray slacks and blue jackets. And then their sweater vest has like green and blue, like navy blue. Their jacket is navy blue. It's green and navy blue and red. And they had on a white dress shirt and red ties. These two young Caucasian boys are probably anywhere between, I want to say 15 to maybe 17, maybe 18. One of them had on some really shiny patent leather shoes. But what was different is the other boy, I guess he had on just like regular shoes, because I didn't really pay attention to them. But one of these boys had on these patent leather shoes, and it was like not a ribbon, but if you've ever seen patent leather shoes, sometimes they'll put like ribbons on the front part of the shoe, and they'll like glue the ribbon to the patent leather. Well, there was like a strip of ribbon right on the middle part of the toe area on his shoes, but they look like women's shoes. And when I first saw his shoes, I kid you not, what flashed in my mind is the Wicked Witch of the West. This young boy, and I'm like, and I thought they were women's shoes, because I was like, first of all, they look small, like the toe area. You could look at a shoe, just the toe area, and be like, that's a man's shoe or that's a woman's shoe. I looked at the toe area of his shoe, and it looked like a woman's shoe. It looked like he had on some low-heeled women's shoes, patent leather shoes. And I was like, my first thought was Wicked Witch of the West, and I was like, why the fuck does he have on those shoes? Because I looked twice. That's how shocking it was that this young boy had on these gosh damn shoes. I was like, why the fuck does he have on these shoes? So something about the Wicked Witch of the West. Something was not right about his gosh damn shoes. I was so baffled and confused in the dream why he had on First of all, these shoes that look like women's shoes. And then it looked like they were too gosh damn small. Like this poor boy had to crush his feet into these small ass women's shoes. That's why we have different shoes, because men and women's feet are shaped differently. But he had on what appeared to be women's shoes. His friend did not. They were meeting up with some other Caucasian male. He was in this big, I want to say old school Suburban. Like late 70s. This thing looked like a monster truck, but it was smaller than that. You know how some guys get their trucks lifted, they get a lift kit? Well, whomever this other Caucasian male was, his truck was lifted. And he was coming around this curve, and these boys were like coming down the hill. And, you know, they were walking across the road, but I was like a couple, I don't know, they're making me say pegs. I was a couple pegs down the hill. And now they're showing me a ladder. But it would be called a rung, not a peg. But anywho, so I was a couple pegs down the ladder, pegs down the hill from these two boys. So I'm looking up, so I see this big Suburban, this big lifted truck coming down the hill to meet them. And they're just like, this dude just stopped on the road to talk to them. So there's that. Again, this dream morphed so many different times, but again, I'm being instructed to tell you guys about this because it means something for someone. So I'm not sure really what's going on with these particular dreams, but I can say the main focus was the two Hispanic ladies, the Hispanic lady and her husband, and the fact that he had written this other female a letter telling her that he was going to leave his wife and that they were going to get married and everything. And so the wife of the husband was outside telling this other promised female, you know, I found your gosh damn letter and he's not leaving. And like, she was making the husband tell the female too, like, you better go tell her something, because, you know, we're not getting divorced. You're not leaving me for her. Like, you better go tell this chick something. So he had to go outside and face this chick. And I don't know who was loading what in their car, but I'm telling you, this chick was standing on the other side of the car, inside the passenger door, holding the passenger door open like she was waiting for something. I don't know, I guess for him to pack his shit. Or I really don't know. But there's those messages, Libras. Please do continue to utilize your own intuition and discernment to make the very best decisions for your highest good. And I know that you will. Thank you also very much for your presence, for your energy, for your vibes, for your likes, for your shares, for your subscribes, for your comments, for your contributions. They are all integral parts of this channel, and I value each and every one of them, whether you are Libra or not. So come on back, spend some time with your girl. United we stand, together we rise. I'll at your girl. Peace.